Hi everyone, so finally I can introduce to you the Josyrian-X final production version. Okay, so this is how it looks like. Okay, the grip is ray skin, ray grip. Arrowpass is also ray skin. Cordura fabric. Default is actually cork. The bridge is Manchu style bridge. This is actually 3D printed with a leather pad. There is a raised Kazan, but unfortunately you cannot see it because the camo is hiding it. But this is how it's supposed to look like. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about that one a bit later. And then the Siyah. The Siyah is actually more complicated than it seems. So now this one here is a working limb, of course. This is a working Kazan. The lower part of the Siyah is actually semi-working. Okay, it does bend. The middle section of this Siyah here is rigid, it does not bend. The tip of this Siyah is semi-working, it does bend. Okay, so when you shoot this bow, it does something very similar to super recurves. This tip here will actually do a bit of boing. I want you to hear it. Okay. So the tip does boing a little bit, bounces a little bit. But let's look at each of these details a bit more. I'm going to explain more of them. So let's start with the grip. So this is the ray grip. Okay, ray skin grip. This is actually an extra option. You don't have to choose it. Default is foam grip, something like that. The foam grip is actually more comfortable. Okay, so if you are a target archer and you are shooting for competition, you are planning to shoot for long hours, then probably the default foam grip will be better. Because foam is more comfortable, it's softer, it's more cushy, it absorbs handshock, it absorbs vibration. It is comfortable, but it will wear. Okay, foam grip will wear. Replacing it is easy and very cheap. Okay, so that is what foam grip will look like. Very easy to replace it and very cheap. But it does not mean that the ray grip is uncomfortable. It just means that the ray grip is not as comfortable as the foam grip. Because foam is soft, but ray skin is hard. Okay, it's very hard. So if you shoot for very long hours with this one, your hand might feel a little bit of soreness, maybe. Okay, I do not know. I have not shot it long hours enough. It might feel a bit of soreness. It does not mean that the grip is uncomfortable. It is just different, because when you're contacting hard surface for a long time, you will feel a little bit on your hand. Okay, compared to something that's soft and what do you call it? Well, yeah, soft. Okay, I don't know the proper term, but yes. For the ray skin, it is polished. Okay, so it is not rough, but because the surface is like stone, it's hard, so any vibration or hand shot in the bow, it transmits to your hand immediately. The ray skin will not absorb any of it, unlike the foam grip. The foam grip will absorb, so it's more comfortable. This one does not absorb, so it's slightly less comfortable. But luckily, the bow itself has very low or almost not perceivable hand shock, but there is a tiny bit amount of vibration when I use the ray grip, which is basically the boing I showed you earlier, like that. Because the tip is working, so it will bounce a little bit, and it's very hard. So when this one bounces a little bit, you can hear the humming of the string. You can feel it from here. It's just a tiny bit. So after the shot, you hear like just a little bit of humming. That's it. Is it annoying? No, I don't really pay attention to it. So just shoot and just focus on your shooting. That small amount of humming is pretty normal on actually many bows. You also have a choice between crown and no crown, because on the ray fish, there's only one center area where the spine is, which is what we call as the crown, the large stone. Okay. Well, the rest of that, what are you going to do with it? So we still have to use it. So this is how it's going to look like. Okay, this is without the crown, that's with the crown. So of course the crown is going to cost a bit more because it's more limited in supply. One fish, one crown. In terms of craftsmanship, you decide. Okay, you decide. I'm going to show you the seams right here. And then there's another seam right here. And a huge seam running across lengthwise. Okay, so personally, even right in front of me, I think the craftsmanship is excellent. You barely can see the seams unless you're searching for it. So I think it is seriously well done, considering that this is a very difficult to work with material. This is extremely good workmanship. There's like dark areas and light areas. That's because the stones on the ray skin, some of them are opaque, some of them are transparent. So on the transparent one, you can actually see through it and you can see the shadow inside the grip, okay, underneath the ray skin. That's why you get the dark area and light area. Okay. Okay, so for the arrowpass, default is ray skin. Okay, you cannot choose, it's only ray skin. But you can choose the color. So this is black. The color is matched, as in like the ray skin, the bridge, and the tip is matched in color. So if you choose black, all three are black. If you choose red, all three are red. And if you choose white, all are white. This is white. Okay, I don't have a red one here, but it's okay. For the fabric here, now Cordura fabric is good for protection against scratches and all, because the default option is cork. Cork is actually very nice to touch, looks beautiful too. But if you're rough, like if you go into the forest and bushes, you know, snagging on the surface, it might tear the cork. So something more durable is Cordura, but depends if you like the pattern. So cork, there are several patterns to choose from, and also you can choose the color, so you can adjust the pattern and the color of cork, and you can actually see the raised Khasan more clearly on a solid color. Whereas Cordura, we have solid color actually, but I just feel that if I had to choose Cordura, I would choose the camel, because it looks, I don't know, I like the camel. Okay, I like the camel. Not everyone agrees to it. It's okay, but one of the disadvantage of camel is that it has hidden it has hidden the raised Khasan. So there is in fact a raised Khasan right here, just like this, but you cannot see it. So it's kind of wasted. I can feel it. I can put my hand, run across, and can feel the spine is right here. Okay, you can feel it, and it starts to split here. So you can feel it, but you cannot see it. Okay, I mean barely. You can kind of see a little bit, but it's barely visible. So in person, it might actually appear a little bit more. You can kind of see that, yeah, this is a bit raised, but it's really not visible at all. Like from far or in camera, right? The camera really doesn't show. So the camo is doing a very good job at hiding it, not very visible. So maybe that's something that buyers should consider if you choose to have a camo Cordura fabric. You might want to skip the Kasan, the raised Kasan, because it's almost invisible. You can barely see it. It's there, but it's barely. You might want to consider a solid color. You know, we have like hex black, and we might offer more colors in the future. But yeah. Okay, so if you want something very visible, choose a solid color, then the raised Kasan is going to show better. For the Siyah, actually something very interesting. So the prototype, if you look at my video from like months ago, the prototype actually had a wood bridge, but because wood is it's a lot of work, you know, to cut it, the tiny piece put here. So we think, okay, why not we do 3D printing? And I love the result. It is actually super light. This piece of bridge here weighs slightly over 2 grams. That's like what? 30 grain, something about 30 grain, 30 plus grain maybe. It's very light. It's very, very light considering that it is solid, okay? It is not hollow. So initially we want to save the weight by using hollow bridge. We can print it in 3D hollow bridge, but it turns out that hollow is like 2 grams and solid is like 2.5 grams. So I'm like, oh, so little, it's a 0.5 gram difference. Let's just go with solid, you know, because against the impact, solid is gonna be safer. Let me show you how small that really is. It's actually a very, very tiny Manchu kind of bridge, but very, very tiny. Okay, very, very, very tiny. So you try to optimize the shape so that there is not much wasted space and unnecessary weight. And then this spine here actually is self-centers the string. Let me see if I can show you more clearly. It self-centers the string. In fact, it is actually like a double bridge. Okay, this is actually a bridge by itself. It doesn't have like a physical bridge, but this is actually a physical bridge followed by a second bridge. So I'm gonna pull the string slightly so you can see what's actually happening. Okay, when the string returns, you see that part here. When it reaches here, it stops. It stops there, then it turns, it pivots at that point. You see, it pivots at that point, it hits the second bridge. Okay, so this is actually the first bridge. This is actually the second bridge. But it appears as if there's only one bridge. It's actually 2. Okay, so the first bridge here, it will self-center itself. So I'm not sure if I can show you in a very good way, but in my previous video, I think I showed something very similar. I'm gonna try to pull the string and try to observe how it centers. Okay, maybe that's too far. It's difficult to show. Yeah, I'm not sure how I'm gonna show this. Okay, screw it. Okay, screw it. Okay, let me try to pull it. Okay, see that? As it returns, the spine centers the string and directs it into this bridge. That's why we do not make this one into a big V, because this spine here already centers the string, always returning to center, so we can keep this one very small. Doesn't have to open very big, so it saves some weight. Now we on this bow, we actually have multi-axial. Now what the hell is that? We actually use part of the lamination is a fabric, is a multi-directional fiberglass fabric. Okay, I'm not talking about a sheet. It's not a pre-made sheet. It is a fabric. like soft fabric. Okay, it's a fiberglass fabric in the lamination. Okay, and it provides twist resistance. So this bow is stiff. It is stiff. It is stiff. Okay, it's very stable now. And because it's more stable, we can actually make this part narrower. So yeah, you can compare it against my hand and all. It's thin, it's narrow. Okay, so the way this one works when you draw it, because okay, working limb, working Kasan, we know how that works. Okay, now this part right below this here, this is actually semi-working. It does bend. It actually bends. And then this part here is stiff, and the tip here bends. So if you look at my other video, short video, I actually showed them being drawn on a tailor tree. You can see it bend. But I'm going to try to do it here as well. Maybe it's not as clear, but whatever. I'm going to try to show it. Okay. Observe. Okay, I'm drawing to the maximum that my span can reach. The bow itself is super smooth. Like how smooth? So when I got my bow and I pulled it, I'm like, the bow actually felt very similar to my Ottoman 31 pounds. So it is supposed to be 36 pounds because that's what I ordered, 36 pounds. So maybe the poundage might be wrong, because it has happened in the past where sometimes some bows felt so smooth. If you feel like, somehow this bow is so smooth for its given poundage, for what is written. So you feel like, it is too good to be true. And usually when I test the poundage, turns out that the poundage is wrong. Okay, so that's why I always do a check. And this one actually kind of hit that kind of spot where it feels too good to be true. It's so smooth. It really reminds me of my 31-pound Ottoman. And I feel, maybe the bowyer has measured wrongly. It is a bit too good to be true. So I took the bow scale out and checked it. It is 36. Okay, it is 36, but it really felt like my 31-pound bow. So that's how smooth that is. Right now, this 36 pounds. Okay, I draw it to my usual length, which is about here. Compare that against my 31-pound Ottoman. Okay, that bow does actually, when you compare side to side, back to back, that bow does feel heavier. Okay, it does feel heavier because it's a 36 pound, this is 31. But in terms of how easy it is to draw, it felt almost similar. Okay, that's why I was a bit confused when I draw that. I thought, it kind of reminds me of my Ottoman. It feels very smooth. But that is a 36 pound. Okay, so I normally don't draw 36 pound for a long period of time because it wears me out. I don't practice that much. The last time I practiced, I forget how many weeks ago. So when I draw that one, I said, for a 36 pound, I can handle it right away. It doesn't feel heavy to me. It feels easy. It feels very smooth. Okay, so that's how smooth that is. So it feels like the bow constantly become a little bit softer as you pull. Like here it's stiff. This part is actually stiff. And then as you draw, it becomes a little bit easier to draw, and it keeps becoming easier to draw as you draw. It's not to say the poundage drops, but it is constantly being softer, slightly softer, constantly being less stiff as you draw it. So all the way to my max draw, it actually feels very comfortable. And in terms of speed, I'm gonna actually show you. I'm gonna try to do some shooting. Let's see how it goes. Oh, by the way, the grip here, oh my god, this is heavy as hell. this section here is massive. Let me put it next to the Ottoman so you can feel how massive this is. It's massive. So there is a lot of mass in the riser itself. In fact, we should make some very interesting structural change on the Ottoman. That palm support is actually cork. So the original, like the main structure goes straight up, and then this palm support is a cork. But on the Josyrian, it's not cork. It is glass as well. It is integrated as part of the entire riser. So that's why now for the Josyrian, the palm support is no longer optional. It is part of the bow itself. Okay, so being a huge chunk here, and the entire thing, including a palm support, is all glass. This thing is heavy, not the limbs. Okay, this is light. Okay, limbs are light, but holy shit, this part is heavy. When I took it out of the packaging, wow, you can really feel the heft of this grip. It almost felt like there's lead in there. Okay, it's dense. This thing is dense. And then of course the bow does require a bit of warming up, because when I first strung it, it happens to pretty much every bow, because the string, when it's not being stretched, when you shoot it, it will stretch. It will, when it's not being fully stretched, it is flexible, and therefore you feel a little bit of the vibration. But after I leave it for a while, which I will actually do on every bow that I sell, I will actually do the stretching part for the customer. So when you receive, actually it's already been stretched. The stretched bow does not have, the stretched string does not have handshock anymore. Okay, handshock gone. You only get a little bit of that vibration. So let me see if I can replicate it. You can hear the humming. Okay, the humming comes from here. Okay, so just a tiny bit. Does not annoy me in any way. So let's do the shooting now. Okay, so I'm not gonna do a lot of shooting. I just want to show you maybe the speed, maybe the sound. Yeah, you judge for yourself. I think it's very fast. So yeah, you decide if the bow is good or not. I think I like this bow. It only has a little bit of the vibration, feeling it, because this is a very hard grip, so you can feel a little bit in the hand, but nothing much.